most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned, because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Welcome, Transformation Talk Radio listeners. I am not Dr. Pat, but you know me. I am Ellen Stewart, the pushy broad from the Bronx, and I have the privilege and the honor of taking Dr. Pat's place just for today so she can take a good Christmas vacation and a good rest, because she's a pushy broad and she works just as hard as I do. So, Doc, wherever you are, I hope it's merry and happy, because you deserve it. I am going to bring you a very special show today because I feel it's like my personal Christmas present to you. I have been with Transformation Talk Radio for the past 2 years now and been broadcasting on KKNW. And because this is the time of year that it has to be merry, I brought you someone that is going to give you a great Christmas present. This person has been with us before. He was on our show in March of 21. And at that time told you about a brand new book he had called The Last Law of Attraction Book You'll Ever Need to Read. And of course, at the time, I thought that was pretty arrogant and egotistical. But then I read the book. And I can tell you, listeners, this book has changed my life. And right now, especially with what's going on in this world, I'm telling you, we need a Christmas miracle, and we need it right now. So I want you to stop what you're doing. I want you to take a little time, put away all of the stress and the strife of listening about the latest COVID-19 vaccine or the latest virus that's happening or the world struggles or even what you're making for Christmas dinner or how many presents you still have to shop for. Take this 1 hour, just breathe, and bring a little manifesting miracles into your life with the wonderful best-selling author of The Last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read. TTR listeners, please welcome my guest, Andrew Kap. Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Yeah, with an intro like that, Ellen, I better be doing great. Thank you so much. Really excited to be here again. Also, I really take it as a high compliment that you're having me on around this time. Well-deserved break for Dr. Pat, and that you chose me as to kind of completely lift it a little bit. So thank you for having me. Looking forward to every conversation.
Well, listen, I'm thinking that if you go to the mall and you see Santa, if you're going into the mall and you see Santa, even if you're masked, you're sitting on his lap and you're asking him for lots of Christmas wishes. And we're all asking for Christmas wishes. And that's part of what happens when we try to bring the law of attraction to us. So for those of you who don't know anything about Andrew and wasn't able to listen to the first show, Andrew, let's just go back a bit and talk to us about what made you write this book and what drew you to the law of attraction?
Wow. So it's interesting because the answers to those questions are in reverse order. Those that heard last one probably remember I was mentioning how I learned about the law of attraction back in 2004. And I was just, a young, struggling entrepreneur trying to figure life out. We all want the secret code or the secret formula to a happy and fulfilling life. And I was no different. And for me, law of attraction was just one modality of many that I was researching, that I was experimenting with. And to be really candid, at that time, it was very inconsistent to me and for me. And I would find out later that I was the one who's being inconsistent because, jump a few years in the future, 2008, I went through a really bad week where I lost my company and my girlfriend of 3 years all in the same week, all within 3 days. And the ironic thing is the relationship was on the rocks because I was struggling so hard to keep the company going. And when I finally quit the company, the damage was too little, it was too little too late. The damage had been done. She didn't even break up over a phone call, or not to say nothing of in person. She broke up over a text, which says a lot. After 3 years, you knew that things were not good. And I had to look in the mirror, obviously, and say, like, what? Something's this whole secret formula I've been looking for. I obviously haven't found it yet, or maybe I did, because I had this very weird simultaneous epiphany and moment of indignation where I'm like, listen, if I think back on these past couple of years, there were times where things were starting to come together. And that's when I was doing these law of attraction methods or techniques. So I kind of told myself, listen, I don't care what happens. I don't care when it happens, why it happens, how it happens. I don't care about any of that. I'm going to go all in. And this time I'm going to not stop. I'm going to stop stopping. And that is not code for I'm going to try to focus on perfect thoughts all day, every day, because as angry as I was still wise enough, and I still had enough of a self-understanding myself to understand that was unsustainable. But what I could do, and what I was angry enough to make sure I stuck to, was 5 or 10 minutes of simple gratitude or visualizations every single day. And it was kind of like a movie, because 2 weeks later, I felt better. Not perfect, but a lot better than anyone who'd recently gotten their heart broken had any business experiencing. Within 3 months, I felt, not only did I feel better, but 3 months later, I had a brand new relationship. I was way more connected. It was a healthier situation. Within 4 months, I'm making more money than at any point in my life before then. And within 6 months, everything was different. I was waking up happy and fulfilled. I was in the best shape of my life. Like, everything was running on all cylinders. And I learned the hard way that this law, we'll call it law of attraction. Who knows what it really is? We just call it that because when you call it that way, things seem to click and make sense. But it works when you work it. And it wasn't until 11 years later that I even decided to write this book, because I basically hit this point where I wanted to do something fun in my business. And I was trying to think, like, what can I do to be really candid, where I was going to be enthusiastic, I was going to be engaged, I was really going to be in it. And I wouldn't, to be really candid, wouldn't be impatient with customers or readers writing to me or asking questions or anything like that. And it dawned on me, here's this huge part of my life that I haven't really gone public with, that if I could only write a good book, maybe I can make a difference. And at that point, I basically had to give myself permission, because we both know, Ellen, there's hundreds of books out there. There's like 1,000. And there's no point to doing something if you're not going to say something new. So I basically had to give myself permission and simultaneously challenge myself to do something that no one else had done, or hopefully no one else had done. Hence the, to some viewpoints, brash and arrogant title, and certainly to everybody, a very bold promise of a title. And I gave myself permission. I went all in with writing it, and basically used myself as the primer, where it was like all the ways I'd gotten in my own way. If I rationalize that the more personal a problem is, the more universal it is. So if I can use those lessons and articulate how I got around that in a way that anyone can access and anyone can understand and apply, then I knew I'd be living up to, this is the last law of attraction book you'll ever need to read. Maybe you'll want to read more, but ideally this will be the last one you need, because this should hopefully give you enough where you do the methods with enough consistency and enjoyment that you get enough of a result that no one can ever take that away from you. It's life experience. It isn't the book teaching you. It isn't law of attraction teaching you. It's not a video. It's not some guru. It's your own life experience. And that, to me, is the foundation of all this.
You're absolutely right. And I understand that you have developed this book out of your own personal experience, which certainly makes it authentic. There's no question about that. And then you said you had this epiphany. So you started to think to yourself, I need to come out of this. I need to come out of this sense of depression, or this sense of the whole world is, the sky is falling. And then you started to say to yourself that there is a positive way to turn things around, and started practicing some of these manifestations and mantras. Is that how it went? Is that how the epiphany took off?
Kind of. I'll put it like in a basketball context. And then, practice basketball for years and years and years. And every time you take a certain kind of mechanics, when you're taking a jump shot, the ball goes in. But rather than sticking with the mechanics, you try all other things that don't work. I finally said, you know what? Those mechanics, that type of shot works. Why am I not using it? Why am I not I was basically, I'll try to watch my language here. I was a fool for not sticking with those mechanics. And I was able to realize, kind of looking back on those years, this thing always started to work. And I was at least cognizant enough to notice it. Let me just stick with the mechanics of that jump shot and see what happens. Let me stop stopping. Let me not quit on that. And fortunately, it turns out the mechanics of that, kind of basketball shot, it does work for me. And that's kind of a good way for me to explain it.
Well, that's a perfect way, considering I know basketball and I grew up an athlete. I know exactly what you mean, but it's that stick-to-itiveness that's really important. And I have a show, Recovery Recharged. In our show, we talk about recovery and the fact that it works if you work it, like we had said before. And if you keep at something for a while with belief and faith and trust, it will turn out in the way you hope. And I think that's something for everybody to remember, especially at Christmas, because faith and hope is something we need now more than anything else. And also to find the simplest way to do that. And that worked for you. And we're going to tell everybody how it's going to work for them. So tell us a little bit about the stats of the book right now, since it's been out for a couple of years. How well is the last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read actually doing?
So hopefully, and I have faith in this. We're over 84,000 copies sold. I'm hoping by the end of the year, it'll actually, the ticker will hit and it'll be 85,000 copies in the can. That's across all formats. There's audio, there's Kindle, there's hardcover, there's softcover. So obviously I'm extremely grateful and very happy, and more so with the positive reviews that come from it, because, again, a title like this, I'm no fool. I realize that it's going to get someone curious enough to buy it, but then you've got to back it up, because you don't want to scam someone out of their money. And if you do that to enough people, you get bad reviews. So like it's more gratifying, even than the number of copies sold, is the number of 5-star reviews of people saying, no, this is legit, Andrew, and this actually helped me. That to me is the even more gratifying part for me.
Well, that's wonderful. So do us a favor, because you get a lot of comments, and I know that, everybody needs to know you are on YouTube, and you do a wonderful job on YouTube, and your book is on Audible as well. And I got it on Audible, and I also have a copy with me, like on my desk. I showed you that last time. It's like right here. And when Andrew talks online and Audible, you are motivated to just get up and smile and do what he tells you to do, because it's easy, it's fast, it's fun, it's quick. So give us some examples of some of the comments that you got and how people's lives were changed.
So it's interesting to answer this question, because there's tangible and intangible, and it's very easy to go to, because I would never divulge personal details, but I've had people write to me saying that they've used it as motivation to get out of abusive relationships, to me, which is really huge. On a more tangible perspective, I did an interview with someone who did my 90-day program, which is basically just guiding them through the methods for 90 days in case they're not doing it on their own. And on day one, when she started, she thought she was going to lose her job. And she emailed me on day 87 saying, okay, now I make a minimum of $100,000 in revenue in my sales job. So to see that kind of 180, someone who uses a method that I teach in my book, I didn't teach it to her. She was using it before I ever published my book. Scripting, she scripted her way from $0 to $1.6 million in, I think, 16 months, if I'm not mistaken. Someone emailed me, he'd never had a girlfriend before, and he emailed me midway through the program that he was in love, and things were, so everyone was like running. I get comments, fortunately, from all different aspects of people's lives that they find a way to use this in harmony with what they're doing and invite a better result.
Well, that's fantastic. And I know personally for me, it's changed my life. It's brought things to fruition that I need. I mentioned to you before that I recommended it as standard reading for everybody that's in recovery, because it does utilize all of the principles and powers of recovery. And I just want to talk a little bit about that. You talk about in your book 3 different ways to manifest things and to change the energy. It's kind of like an energy movement in your life. And you talk about 3 ways: gratitude, scripting, and visualization. Can you describe those methods for everybody in case they have forgotten?
Absolutely. Well, scripting is the fastest and the easiest one to describe. That's basically whether you're writing by hand or typing on a keyboard or even speaking aloud. Scripting is basically journaling your life in the present tense as if you're already living your dream life. You're giving whatever those details are. Visualization, it is what it sounds like. And, whether you are putting yourself in a meditative state of all your body senses experiencing something, or just the visual or whatever it might be. You're just basically putting in the images, whether they're still images or moving images of what you want in your life. And gratitude is basically, finding ways or steps by which you experience the emotions and feelings of gratitude. And I'm sure we'll talk about a little more about that, because for me, gratitude is this really powerful secret hack. It's not the only way of accessing the law of attraction, but in my experience, it's the easiest and therefore most effective way of doing it.
I love you use the term secret hack, right? It's like Santa's little elves. Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, the thing is, people, when they hear about the law of attraction and they buy into it, they get really excited. They kind of go about it in a way where they're trying to force reality to bend to their will. And they're trying to make things happen a certain way, and they don't realize they're actually inadvertently putting out the energy, or even just the psychology. If you don't believe in the law of attraction, they're putting out the vibe of not having what they want, and they're reinforcing that more powerfully. The thing about gratitude is you can't feel good and bad at the same time. And when you put yourself in a state of gratitude, you're essentially, in an indirect way, screaming the vibration that you have what you want, that you are content, that life is good, that good things happen to you. So it's just a very easy kind of, you're focusing on just things that you're grateful for, whether they're in your past, present, or future. But through that, you're just sending out the vibration, or again, just the psychology of your subconscious mind, that things are okay, that things are good. And I mean, all I can do is say that it works. No one can really understand how powerful it is until they choose to engage with it, and in a very unattached, non-requirement way. Like if someone's like, oh, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to grit my teeth and I'm going to be judgmental the whole time and watch the score. Well, then again, that's basically another way of saying that you're putting out the vibe of not getting it. And by the way, don't buy my book if you don't believe me. My YouTube stuff is free. Try this stuff for free without spending any money. But again, do it from an open-ended mentality where you're just going to see what happens. All you're doing is committing to just 5 minutes a day of feeling good, regardless of what any results may or may not come on top of it. You're giving yourself that win in that moment. That is the secret to making it work.
Boy, you said so many things there. I want to back it up for a second, because this is how it relates to exactly what's happening now. We can turn around today, especially after this, the president was quite optimistic last night, and I appreciate that because we are getting a handle on things. All right, there are other strains of the virus coming out, and things are happening, and everybody's worried about whether or not we have to batten down the hatches again. But if we start looking at what we are grateful for today, especially all of the people that can say, I've been through the virus and I'm alive and I'm here to tell about it. I have gotten the vaccine, or I am healthy and well and my kids are well and my immediate family is okay. Please focus on what's positive rather than what's negative, which is exactly what you're saying. Because if we don't go with the flow of the universe and we don't bring positive energy into us, then all we're doing is fighting it. And like you said, we are inviting the existence of negative energy, and that's not going to help anybody.
Yeah.
And during the year at Christmas, especially, if we don't have gratitude here, then there is no better time of the year to regain that gratitude. I also want everybody to understand that part of what we have to do, and part of what Andrew's book does, is to help us retrain our brains. We are not stuck in one set of emotions, no matter what is happening with us today. And that's exactly why Dr. Pat has this show and has developed Transformation Talk Radio, because transformation is what we are all about. But transformation doesn't just come. It comes because we decide to let it in. And one of the biggest things that we know in recovery is to be open and willing. And if you weren't open and willing before, you just give Andrew's book a try. Just be open. Because if you have a choice whether to think negative thoughts or positive thoughts, why don't you choose positive thoughts for once and see how things will change? And there's one more thing you said, which really is the clincher here. In the beginning of the year, everybody wants to try new things, Andrew, right? I want to go on a diet. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to have a model body. I want to lift weights. I want to start a new business, blah, 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 blah. Everybody wants to start something new. All right. And we all have great intentions until February. And then all of a sudden, not happening. But now with this book, what you are saying and your theme throughout the book, and I love that, is if it's not fun, don't do it. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So the key to all of this is consistency. But we all know, I think a lot of people, at least, I know me, I was a seminar junkie for a while and going all different places. I know what it feels like to go into a room and have a speaker really pump me up and lift me up, and I'm so excited. And then an hour later, it's kind of the feeling's already dissipated. The thing is, if we're relying on willpower, there will be bad days. So what we want to do is we want to be strategic about this and finding something that it's easy because it's enjoyable. Because if it's something that you have, if it's something that's a chore rather than a choice, then I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying that it's a lot more difficult to do it. And why do that to yourself? The key to consistency and the key to momentum and all those being together is having something where you're like, listen, for 5 minutes, I'm actually going to enjoy this. And by the way, because it's 5 minutes, I don't have to worry about being late for work. I don't have to worry about messing up my schedule. And ideally, this is something that I enjoy enough that it's worth it to me. It's worth taking 5 minutes to do this versus feeling bad. So the whole, this is my long-winded way of saying it. You're not going to do it unless you're enjoying it. So you better find something that you enjoy, because otherwise you're not going to be consistent.
Right. And it's not going to be sustainable. And that's the most important thing. I picked up your book about a month or two before we actually talked. You were on my Everybody Needs a Little Push show on YouTube back in February. So it's almost a year that we're together. I picked up your book in January. So it's the 1 year anniversary. And I am still doing this today. So I can't thank you enough. And I was sharing with Andrew the other day on his YouTube podcast YouTube radio show and podcast, that I program my Alexa every single morning to remind myself to do my gratitude list. And the best thing about it is the moment I say I am grateful for whatever it is, I'm grateful for the fact that I woke up this morning. I'm grateful for the fact that I had a good night's sleep. I'm grateful for the fact that I have loved ones around me. I'm grateful for the fact that I can get up and walk around and eat breakfast. I don't care what it is. Start saying these things to yourself consistently every single day, 2 or 3 minutes, and you can't tell me that your life won't change. And you can start right now from this very, very, very moment. So, Andrew, tell us how you start your day and what manifesting methods you use.
So for me, it's interesting because I couldn't agree more that the start of your day is a great opportunity. But I must say, sometimes people, they prefer the end of the day, they prefer the middle of the day. So I would say, you're going to want, I'd recommend everyone to experiment and see which time or times of day is really good for them. And I say that with a preface of, I don't always see, me, the way I start my day is because my brain's filled with ideas. I write in the beginning of the day. So the thing I do every day for me personally isn't at the beginning, because I'm so excited to put down my ideas. I do that. I get that out of my system. The thing I do every single day is I pull out my phone and I turn on the recorder app, and I spend usually about 5 minutes, sometimes 90 seconds, sometimes 10 minutes, but usually around, 3, 4, 5 minutes, just describing all the things that I'm grateful for. And these are things from my past, from my present, sometimes from my future that I say in the present tense. And then I take that message and I send it to my friend across the country who does the same thing for me. Sometimes my message gets to him first. Sometimes he gets his to me first. Sometimes I text it rather than recording it, likewise for him. But it's the thing where we've installed an easy and fun accountability to one another, where there's no pressure. It's all fun. There's a lot of freedom in there. And January 8th, we'll begin our 5th year of doing this, and we have not missed a day. We've been doing this for years, every single day, because it's fun. And again, it's easy. And strategically, I've helped myself because I didn't want to let him down. So even on those days where it's really crazy, really busy, I'm like, no, I can take 30 seconds out and I can do this. There's no excuses. And again, I made it very easy. So the things that we've seen in each other's lives, he's seen me publish a book. He's seen 85,000 copies sold. I've seen him make incredible, developments and growth with him and his family, with him and his career. It's just really amazing for us. And because sometimes he goes first, sometimes I go first, one person might inspire a different kind of message in the other person, and we get to track our results. We can see this growth in each other. So it's not like a pressure where like you have to report good news. It's a situation where good news has a nurturing environment to always be available, and usually it comes.
You know, you said something that is really important here, because when we do something with a buddy, it always seems to work out a little better, and it is more sustainable because you can hold each other accountable, and you also get to see the progress that each of you is making. So that's a wonderful thing. All right. We have about 2 minutes before we take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about specific methods that Andrew uses to manifest different things. And we're going to see if they'll work for you. But in the meantime, Andrew, I just want you to just take a little bit of time and tell us about one specific method that I use a lot, and that's your time-lapse method. So can we talk about that for about a minute and a half?
Absolutely. Let's see if I can get this out in a minute and a half, because it is simple, but I sometimes go into details. So time-lapse, a very easy gratitude method where you're going to write down 15 things that you're grateful for, 5 from your past, 5 from your present, and 5 things in your future that you're looking forward to happening. You're going to write them all out in the present tense as if they're already happening and you couldn't tell the difference. Then you're going to jumble up that list. Maybe the first one's the future, then the past, and the present. And you're going to read that list one thing at a time and give yourself 20 to 60 seconds to feel gratitude for each thing. And the really cool, powerful thing about the time lapse is because you think about it, 2/3 of that list is real. It already is happening or has happened, and therefore the gratitude that you feel for it is going to have an enthusiasm and energy and power and confidence that you just can't replicate. But because we as humans don't downshift very easily, that same gratitude and enthusiasm will carry over when you're reading those future items. So you're feeling great while simultaneously inviting more into the future.
We're going to talk a lot more about this when we come back. Andrew's book, The Last Law of Attraction, book you'll ever need to read. It's a perfect stocking stuffer right now. Go to Amazon.com and buy it, or buy it on Audible. If you want some sessions with me over the Christmas holidays, it's pushybroadfromthebronx.com, 800-889-1757. We'll be back right after the break. Stay with us.
All clear.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm the host of the Dr. Pat Show. Hey, look, some of us are outwardly successful, but inwardly feel unhappy and living a life lacking purpose and meaning. Well, The Necktie and the Jaguar by Carl Greer can help you discover what's important to you and how to reach out and go for it. For more information or to purchase the book, go to transformationtalkradio.com or go to carlgreer.com.
Are you ready to put down that drink or drug for good? Are you struggling to maintain your recovery from addictive behaviors? Do you need help with a family member or loved one who's in early recovery or battling addiction? Get the help and guidance you need by arranging a recovery recharged phone session with me, Ellen Stewart, Pushy Broad from the Bronx, certified life and recovery coach. Call 1-800-889-1757. Make an appointment today or go to my website, pushybroadfromthebronx.com, and click on the link that says Recovery Recharged. Don't wait. Get the help you need today. This is Ellen Stewart, Pushy Broad from the Bronx, on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
We figured by the time we turned 50, we kind of had life figured out, but we were not prepared for the realities of midlife. Tune into And That's When I Realized, the truth and comedy of midlife, with me, Susan Dolce.
And me, Leon Dyer, every second and fourth Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. You're not alone in these challenges, and sometimes you just gotta laugh.
Find us at SusanDolce.com
and LeonDyer.com.
Want to ignite your best life full of joy, passion, and purpose? Then join me, Stephanie James, for The Spark, Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, on TransformationTalkRadio.com, and learn how together we can illuminate the world. Learn more on stephaniejames.world. The best is yet to come.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack, and I'm excited to tell you about the latest technology. It is new to this country, and it's just amazing. It's out of Germany. The Healy is state-of-the-art technology for improving and changing the body vibration. I have more information about the Healy on my website, maryjanemack.com, or you can call the office at 888-777-4232.
All right, y'all set? I'll send a little audio down to you, okay? All right, stand by.
Welcome back, Transformation Talk Radio listeners. I'm Ellen Stewart, the pushy broad from the Bronx. I'm filling in for Dr. Pat today on her show because she's taking a very well-earned vacation. We love you. We miss you, Dr. Pat. We'll see you soon. I am here with the #1 best-selling author, Andrew Kap, and his book, The Last Law of Attraction, book you'll ever need to read. And we are giving you some Christmas gems here because I want you to start your miracles early because we really do need it. So if you were sitting on Santa's lap, what would you be wishing for? Would it be more money? Would it be better health? Would it be a new job? What would you be wishing for? And if you were wishing, how do you think those wishes can come true? And that's what Andrew's going to talk to us about today. So the title of this episode is Merry Manifesting. Andrew, what does that mean?
Well, that's actually the name of a method that I just put out on my YouTube channel. A lot of fun, in my opinion. And I want to preface this by saying, if you don't live in an area for any reason where there's Christmas decorations, we can still work this. There's always workarounds. There's always a way. But the Merry Manifesting method is basically something where you can take a nice stroll around your neighborhood, whether you're leaving your home or your office, whatever, and you're going to use the environment to your advantage, given the way it is in the holiday season, to feel good things. So for example, and you can make your own rules and guidelines, every time you walk by a house where there is a Santa, use that as your cue to stop and think of something from your past that you are grateful for. Every time you pass Christmas lights or presents, perfect, right? Think of something from your present that you're grateful for. Every time you see a snowman or reindeer or a sled or anything else, that could be something where you're grateful in advance for things from the future that are on the way. Do that on a long enough walk where you're genuinely looking and stopping and thinking of something, you're going to come back feeling like $1 million. And the really cool thing about this is sometimes people have trouble like getting started. The environment is starting you for you. You're just walking through and you're watching the cues. You don't know where the Christmas lights are going to be. You don't know where the Santa's going to be. Since you don't know what to expect, you're going to let the universe or your environment cue you. And as promised, if you're not in a place where there's a lot of Christmas decorations, all right, every time I walk in front of a house where there's 2 cars in front of the driveway, that's what I'm going to think about from my past. Every time I walk by with a tree where there's still some leaves or something, that's going to be present. Every time I walk by, see a red car, that's my future. You can make any rules, and no restrictions, no limitations. And I'm telling you, if you're actually put in the concerted effort to think of something from your life that you're genuinely grateful for, you will feel wonderful. And if you can't think of things, wow, we can go on a whole thing on that, because it is, no matter what's going on in your life, and I recognize that a lot of people are faced with, difficult situations. And I probably used this example the last time I was on, but you think about your heartbeat, which has been beating in your chest every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every week of every month of every year of every decade that you've been alive, sending blood and nutrients and oxygen and whatever to all the other parts of your body, which have also been serving you. How could you not feel grateful for that? How could you not feel grateful for the device that you're watching or listening this on? You use that device for email, for texting. You use the apps on the device, whether it's a dating app, whether it's a money app, whether it's your banking app, whether it's whatever it might be. Like, there are so many things to be grateful for, even in the midst of any kind of stresses, in the midst of any things that you're not 100% happy with. This isn't about being 100% content, happy with everything in the world. It's about identifying and giving credit and honoring the things that are in your life that you do have to be grateful for. Because no matter what's going on in my life, there are people that I've met that were in my corner that I always have to thank. There were people that looked out for me. There were mentors. There were friends. That were people that really did favors when they didn't have to do them. And I'm sure everyone listening has had other people that's done favors for them. There's, you know, think about right now, Ellen being here for you, doing this show. All the times Dr. Pat is here, like they're taking time and energy and love and bringing it into this for your benefit. How could you not be grateful for that? How could you not be grateful for the fact that just by listening to this, that's your key indicator that you are on your way to an ever improving life? Because there are people that don't bother to listen to these shows. They don't take the time. They don't have the interest. Just the fact that you are hearing this is proof enough alone, is demonstration enough alone that the universe is in your corner, regardless of any other events and circumstances that you may not be enjoying 100%.
I could not have said it any better. And you know me, I'll try. I absolutely agree with you. So just giving a specific example, if I want to use that time-lapse method or talk about gratitude, sometimes I don't know what I'm grateful for, but opening my eyes is something that I'm grateful for. Turning around and saying, being able to know you is something that I'm grateful for. And that's happening in the present. Okay. I'm grateful to know Andrew. I'm grateful for the parents that I have. That's something in the past. And now maybe I'm grateful to do another year with Transformation Talk Radio. And that hasn't happened yet. So that's an example of present, past, and future. And that's where you need to go. All right. Just live in that. And just by saying the words, I am grateful, really opens up your soul and opens up your heart. And right now we need that more than anything else.
We really do.
So,
yeah.
Yes. So now, okay, so we've talked about that. We've talked about Mary manifesting. And that's really good because when you see a trigger, triggers can be positive as well as sometimes being negative, because we always look at triggers in recovery as being something negative. Okay. You see a liquor store, if you're an alcoholic, it triggers you into doing bad things. But understand that we can replace positive triggers with negative triggers. And these are the kinds of things that Andrew is talking about. We can reframe our brain. We can change the way we think about things, which means that this time going into 2022, we have to be filled with hope and excitement rather than dread and foreboding. You can choose positive. Start now with gratitude. Start now with the last law of attraction book you'll ever need to read. On top of which, Andrew has an amazing YouTube channel. He talks to you positively. He teaches you every single day. And like he said, it's absolutely free. Andrew, tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel.
Thanks. Well, I very recently had an awesome guest on it named Ellen, who gave a wonderful example about inevitability thinking. And like you were saying, you know, setting an Alexa to make sure you stick to things. I try to make sure the channel has a little something for everyone, whether it is interviews with people that are applying the law of attraction in unique and effective ways, or really just, you know, teaching more methods. Because for me, I think any one method on its own is all you will ever need in order to make an impact. But I also, again, recognize human nature. We as humans, we enjoy novelty, we enjoy variety, we enjoy things being fresh. So I always try to come up with new, fun manifesting methods so that people can just try something in a different way and keeps it a little interesting for them. And more, I always just try to find unique spins on things. Like someone had asked me, like, hey, how do you deal with the law of attraction if you have ADHD? So I made a video on it. You know, and how do you people are worried about lottery numbers. Okay, let me give my perspective on lottery numbers. People ask me different things. I use those questions as fuel for trying to address it on a more wide audience. And I don't know if we'll how deeply talk about this, but over the summer I did like 100 consecutive days of the channel. And we can talk about that a little later if you want, but it really just speaks to the fact that I was very wholly committed to making sure that there's plenty of free content for people. Because I mean, the book is $4 on Amazon, the Kindle version. So, I mean, it's not going to break the bank no matter what. But for anyone that doesn't want to spend money, I want to make sure that there was always options for people. And that's where the YouTube kind of made such a very easy way for me to do that for them.
So part of our Christmas list when we sit with Santa is not only gratitude and being happy for what's around us, but I know a lot of you out there would probably love to manifest more money, right? And you do a wonderful manifestation about being a money magnet and the ocean and all of that stuff that's in your book. Andrew, could you share that with us? I love that reference.
Yeah, well, so actually there's one or two money meditations on the YouTube channel. One thing let me share a fun one with you, actually. This is exclusive to YouTube. It's not even in the book. And I'm going to do it from memory because these come on the fly. I try them, I like them, I teach them, and I move on. But this is a really fun one. I call this, I think it's like the money bag manifesting method. If you search for it on YouTube channel, you'll find it. And it's basically, you put yourself through a visualization where you choose the details. You make sure first you take a nice couple of deep breaths, you relax. You don't try to find the perfect state of Zen, because the perfect state of Zen will never be there and then you'll never get started. Just relax a little more. You don't have to have any, it's okay if there's noises going on in the background. It's okay if there's interruptions. Just breathe deeply and close your eyes and imagine yourself going to like your local bank where people there, they're so excited to see you. They're having conversations. How's the wife? How's the husband? How's the kids? Think about what this means when you're having these conversations where they're excited to see you. They're excited to see you because you are a frequent, high-rolling customer there. So of course they're excited. Of course you're on first name basis with these people. Think about, they're dressed in. I always, being from New York, I think of people like, you see them outside the luxury buildings with the white gloves. I think about the bank staffers wearing that, like when they're attending to me. But you can have whatever you want. But think about how basically you're making all these withdrawals and all these deposits, and now they're filling all these massive bags with all of your money for you to deposit or spend in any way that you wish. And what I'm basically breaking down for you here is one optional way of having a fun visualization that's sending a very powerful signal both to your subconscious mind and to the universe that you have money, that you have means, that you have resources, that you have access to infinite abundance. One from the book is where you go to something I call the ocean of abundance, which I learned about like 20 years ago, where you're putting a bucket in and you're letting the water draw in, and that water represents the abundance for you. It's got all different colors. It's got gold. It's got white. And you're basically taking that and you're pouring it out into the beach, and it's becoming money for you. And I mean, this isn't like a little pond. This is an endless ocean that's just yours. These visualizations have power, but also they're fun. And that's the key, that you're enjoying the moment while you're reaffirming this vibration and this energy and this psychology to yourself that you really have these things.
So can you picture it? All of you out there, can you picture it? Can you picture yourself going down to the beach, putting your toes in the water and realizing all of the beautiful colors, and then taking a little bucket and dipping it in the water? And every single time you dip it in the water and you pour it onto the sand, a bucket of gold tips out, coins and gold and silver. Can you realize that? Can you see that in your head? Can you visualize? How good is your visualization? As good as your visualization is, and as good as your gratitude is, that's the opportunity you have to do something really good with your life, no matter what it is. And Andrew makes that possible in what, 24 ways in the book? How many different ways?
Yeah, I've got about 19 methods in the book. And by the way, I don't think I've ever yet given out this link on any show before. So exclusive to your audience, even though I give the link in other ways. If anyone goes to ultimateabundancemeditation.com, that'll give you can do guided meditation. You can actually listen to the Ocean of Abundance meditation for yourself and enjoy it free of charge. But yeah, the book has about 19 or 20 methods. It's kind of like there's a one that's technically not in the frame of a method, but it's still a method in there. And again, it's all about variety. It's like, let me give gratitude methods, scripting methods, and visualization methods, because people never know what they're really going to love until they do it. So I figured if I give them enough of a broad menu for them to choose from, they'll find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that really resonate with them. And also they might find ones that they really love, but they only have time on the weekends for them. And ones that they really love, but okay, this one only takes me 30 seconds. Let me do this one instead.
For me, I was never much of a scripter, but I am a really big visualizer and a gratitude person. And because I talk for a living and I talk with my clients, it's easier for me to talk about it. I also mention how effective these things are when you talk out loud. And since I'm a born and raised Bronx girl and lived in Manhattan for the longest time, it's not uncommon for people to be talking out loud to themselves. Nobody cares.
So it's interesting to hear you say it. First of all, even though I teach scripting, I think it's great. In my own experience, my hand is often cramped up before I can get everything out there. But when I speak, for me, I'm unrestricted. Sometimes I want to type, but sometimes I can't type fast enough. For me, I'm unrestricted. And by the way, again, I don't think people, don't really have to worry about, like, do people hear you speaking to yourself? But one thing that might help break that ice is, act like you're on a phone call. Hold up the phone and just talk. So if there's any kind of apprehension, if you're self-conscious in any way that you're worried someone's going to be thinking that you're weird, imagine you're on the phone with your friend and you're telling them all the things great about your life, all the things that you're grateful for. Use that motion so that you don't have to feel self-conscious, and then be completely free and unrestricted in how you want to spoken script or speak script these things for yourself, and just enjoy yourself. That's what it really comes down to.
I think that's a great idea, especially if you're out in the open. And if you're home, there's nothing wrong with talking to yourself or talking to your pet or talking to your loved one. I also find that that does another thing for you, and you're really going to reap the benefits of talking out loud. Number one, you get to hear yourself talking out loud. And that's very, very different than just holding on to things in your subconscious. So you need to try that. All right. It's not hard. Just talk out loud. I am very grateful for everything that's happening to me today. I am very grateful for a great Christmas coming up. I'm very grateful for the fact that I'm healthy and that I'm well and that my family is well. Just by saying these things, I promise you, your mood will improve. There is no question that it will. And if you get tired of doing that, then find the other 18 methods in Andrew's book, or go to YouTube and listen to him and watch him do other methods that actually work for him.
And
so,
one quick note, Ellen, I'm sorry, I just want
ahead.
to say one more thing. When you do this for the first time, it will most likely feel weird. That's not your reason to stop. That's your reason to keep going, because you don't remember this, but when you first walked in your life, that felt weird also. These things will feel a little out of place. That's okay. Just keep going. Just keep trying it. Just experiment. Have the mindset of experimentation just to see where it goes, because then you will be very, very, very pleasantly surprised. Trust me.
So now you're sitting on Santa's lap and you're really wishing for good health. All right. You really want to make sure that you have good health and that your family has good health. Give us a popular manifesting method for health, Andrew.
So here's what I love about these methods. They're interchangeable. So even the ocean of abundance method, for an example, where you were putting the bucket in this ocean and abundance was flowing in, you could just as easily picture that an abundance of health. And that's your magic elixir. You don't even have to put a bucket in. You don't visualize putting yourself, but visualize a cup that you're putting in this ocean of abundance, and it's putting in a magic elixir, and visualize yourself drinking down this health and this vitality. Also, a simple thing is just, closing your eyes, taking a couple deep breaths, and just picture gold or white or gold and white light just emanating and permeating your body. And there's different schools of thought. If someone has a knee that's hurting them, they think they should put all of the light on their knee. I personally, and I don't think there's a right or wrong way, it's only what way feels good to you. For me, I do my whole body. I let my body decide what needs more healing or less healing. I let my body decide how and when to do it. I just give my entire body that love and that light and that vitality and that energy that I visualize. That in and of itself, those things, they sound so simple. But I'll say this: Olympic athletes, they rehearse their events in their mind over and over and over again before they ever actually physically compete, because the studies have shown that your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between imagined and real. And if your subconscious mind can't tell the difference, we're talking about things more complicated than I can explain, in terms of cellular activity, in terms of brain chemistry, and in terms of vibration, sending out a signal to the universe to energetically mirror things back to you. So wherever you are on the spectrum of belief, whether it's just biochemistry or energy or both, this has an impact that you will never appreciate with your own physical senses, and you will only understand through the results that you get when you engage with it without any stress or requirement, and you just are willing to see what happens.
And without stress is the key. All right. We're not trying to make this difficult. It is so easy. Andrew provides you with the tools, and all you have to do is talk them. In recovery, we say to act as if, which means take the first step and then worry about believing. Okay. Just go with an open mind, follow the exercises, pick any one you want, do anything you want. Just make sure that you're doing these things consistently. It doesn't have to be an hour a day. I take 2 minutes in the morning And during the day, if I'm feeling unhappy or if I'm starting to dip in terms of my energy level, or I'm feeling depressed, or I'm stressed about something because something's going on, I just start with my gratitude list. I'm grateful that everything works out the way it's supposed to. I am grateful that I have the wherewithal and the strength and the energy to continue. Whatever it is, start with that. Visualize a positive outcome and then just be in it. Allow yourself to be in it. More than ever, we need this now. And this is a wonderful way to boost your attitude and your energy level going into 2022, which is why I really wanted you to have this today. So we're going to do just a couple more, because I know there's one particular manifesting method that you didn't put in your book that you have on YouTube. Can you talk about that?
Well, which one? Because I've got a lot. So I mean, I'll say this. It's so funny because I do have a number of ones on YouTube that really kind of hammer home the power of this. I actually instead want to say one thing that's actually even more important, because I think if people want one that's not in my book, the one I do with my friend every single day, where I just leave a recorded message, it's so easy and powerful. But here's what I want to use this time for. Most things don't change overnight. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying most don't happen. And the reason I say that is it's very easy to get excited and do this for 3 days. And if you don't perceive a change, you give up. And that's the last thing you should do. And here, remember, if you do it for 3 days and you're like, this doesn't work, and you quit, you know what that tells me? That tells me you didn't actually enjoy the thing. Because if you actually enjoy the thing and you only do it for 5 minutes, you're never going to worry about quitting. So just trust me, like it's my plea to you, whether it's my book, my YouTube, or somebody else's, find a manifesting method or technique that you enjoy for just a few minutes a day, that again, you enjoy it. And don't stop after 2 days. Don't stop after 5 days. Don't stop after 10 days. And by the way, don't stop when things start going well, because that was my problem for 4 years before I figured this out. Things would actually start to improve. And we didn't talk about the ego. That's a whole, that we don't even have time on the show for that. But things start to improve, and then I stopped after that. You want to keep going no matter what, whether things are going this way or that way. And it should be easy, because you should love what you're doing for those few minutes. That's what I want. I know I didn't answer your question, Ellen, but I want to use that time for your audience.
No, and that's a really good thing. And it's good to know, because what happens is after a while, things do start to change for the better, and you stop doing it. And then all of a sudden it doesn't sustain. So that's a really good thing. You need to perpetuate it. You need to keep going, and also never to give up. But the only way to do that is to tell yourself that this is not a chore, right? This is not a job. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, it's a practice. It's not something you have to do. It's something you get to do. I probably said this the last time I was on, but I've yet to meet someone it's a huge football fan. I've never had a huge football fan say, Andrew, you mean I have to go to the Super Bowl this year? It's like, no, they are pumped to go to the Super Bowl. They don't care about the long plane ride. They don't care about baking out in the hot sun all day. They don't care about all the travel restrictions of the way things are going on in the world. They are excited to be there. This is something where you don't feel like you have to do it every day. You feel like you get to do it every day. It's only 5 minutes. You can do more if you want, but the point is you don't have to. And that's the mindset and approach. And when you come from there, this stuff is automatic. And you know what? Some days you're going to be more engaged than other days. That's also okay. But the whole point is just to enjoy it at least a little bit every single day, to a measure, to a degree where, of course, you're going to keep doing it. It's not something that you have to keep going in order for your life to keep going well. It's something like your life's going to keep going well no matter what. And of course, you're going to keep doing this. It's second nature by this point. Just like brushing your teeth is second nature. Just by, eating a meal is second nature. This should be second nature, where you just enjoy it and you do it and it's fine.
You talk about that a lot in your book, and that's really wonderful, that it becomes a habit and it's something that you really want to hold on to and you don't want to let go of. And it's the easiest thing to do just by talking out loud every single day. So I know we have a minute or two left. In fact, everybody's telling me 2 minutes to go. What do you want to leave our audience with today? What's your Christmas message, Andrew?
My Christmas message is: leave room for the miraculous without any requirements or specific expectations. Just leave room. Be willing to feel gratitude, not because things in life are perfect or you're trying to make them perfect, but because strategically it serves you, and because why not enjoy your life while you're living it? Don't wait for life to be perfect before you start enjoying it. Start enjoying it to whatever measure you can now, and it will get closer to perfection. It won't get all the way. It'll never get all the way. But when you start enjoying it for the way it is right now, that's where things improve. It's a strategy, but you're strategically feeling good, which makes things improve, which makes you feel good, which makes things improve. It really is that simple. I think Ellen and I both agree. It's the simplicity of this that really makes the difference.
Andrew, I cannot thank you enough for being here today. Andrew Kap, the last law of attraction book you'll ever need to read. He's on youtube.com/Andrew Kap. Please pick it up on Audible, pick it up in hard copy, pick it up anywhere you can find it. It will be life-changing for you in the beginning of 2022. I wish you health, wealth, and happiness. If you need me, it's pushybroadfromthebronx.com, 800-889-1757. Take care, all of you. Merry Christmas and happy 2022. I look forward to seeing you in January. Thanks a lot. Have a great
All clear. Nice job. Merry Christmas.